This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
And again, look, but the thing is with Drake Maye, despite the results not being there and the turnovers being crushing last year in terms of results, you still saw pretty early like what he had, but it just keeps getting better at this point. And so, Greg, this is another example. Again, I think last week you wrote this was all about Drake Maye. Are you just going to cut and paste the story for this week again?
I might. I don't know. I mean, look, this was historically the most accurate game, quarterbacked game in team history. And I mean, who am I to argue with that? And you know, they had sort of a pretty good quarterback here, before, but he's insane. I mean, I was just looking, and this could change because of game charting and things like that. And I think we talked about this last week. Drake Maye's completion percentage over expected is right now it's plus 24.4. Right now, that is this week. That's just for this game.
Yeah.
That is the second best in the NFL this season to Sam Darnold in week 5, which was just like, I don't even think a full percentage point better. So we're talking about, according to the advanced analytics, this was one of the best quarterback games in the NFL this year. And it seems like we almost say it every other week. And what I really liked, John, was, when I went back and looked at it, and certainly Drake played really well last week. There were some issues in the second half, and including, some of his footwork got a little bit wonky, and you're just like,
you said he got cocky.
Yeah, he got cocky, started doing some of the stuff he did at UNC, and you're like, oh, is this a byproduct of them just relying on him too much? And it's just the Drake Maye offense and sort of like, cowboy Josh Allen type of thing. But just to the, watching it today, it looked like he made all those corrections and he was back to being completely comfortable and doing mostly the right things. Some of protecting himself and other things, not so great. But for him to keep making the corrections and getting better week after week, that's the thing that's really abnormal for a player of his inexperience and his age.
Yeah. So again, how much of what's happening around right now, like, we're talking about it with Taylor and Mike, guys helped him out today. Booty makes a great fingertip grab. That the touchdown catch by Hooper was terrific. They're coming back over the top. Pop Douglas, though he might have, maybe he was supposed to sit on that route, still makes a ridiculous catch on 4th down coming back. That stuff makes a big difference too. Is that kind of a byproduct of the vibe that he's creating, which is guys are stepping up and making plays? Because you didn't see that as much last year. And, a lot of the personnel is similar outside of Stephon Diggs with what he had around him. Obviously, the benefit of having a little bit more time in the line protecting better than it did last year gets him in a place where he can settle down. He's not as scattered, with what's going on. But just overall, like, you are getting good contributions from the people around him. How are you feeling like now about this? And you've said it. He's got enough weapons. Like, you feel okay about this group. You still feel pretty good about it. You think that he's elevating their games, or they're just kind of, coming into their own a little bit on their own?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything, John. And I do think that they, have enough. I think, if they can get the running game going, and what I thought was really good today was, I think at the end of the day, and I'm no math major, trust me, that's my wife. I think the running backs ended up with 25 rushes, and Drake Maye ended up with 25 dropbacks, including the 2 sacks. So if they're at their best when they can stay in that range. And so as far as, Drake, do I think he's certainly elevating guys around him. He's making plays. I mean, that throw along the sideline to Stephon Diggs was just outrageous. I mean, just dropped in a bucket. I mean, great job by Diggs being a pro and showing late hands and that kind of thing. But even if he stuck his hands out, it was still going to be completed because it was that good. And he does a lot of those things. That's why his completion rate over expected is so high now week after week. But also, I mean, look, they have the ability to get different guys involved. I mean, what they have 8 different pass catchers today, or
Yeah.
at least 8 guys who got targeted. I think 7 caught passes. Kyle Williams is the only one who didn't. Stevenson was 2 for 0, which is weird. But I really like this offense. I know people want a number one and all that, and I certainly wouldn't turn one down, but I really like this offense in terms of the defense can't really key in on anybody. On any down, yeah, sure, he's going to look to Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs a little bit more on third down, but we see Pop Douglas make that ridiculous catch on fourth down. That was a huge play in the game. I mean, if they don't convert there, the Titans get a lift. Who knows? It was only, I think, a 4-point. I think it was 17-13 at that point.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's doing a great job.